On October 3rd, 2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands with my wife and 4 friends, I joined a paragliding tour hosted by Olympic Wings. For 10 glorious days, our group toured Greece from east to west, sampling many fabulous flying sights, enjoying great food and wonderful accommodations. Here are a few of the many magic moments experienced by this international group comprised of 18 Swiss, 4 Germans, and a lone Canadian.
How's that?
On October 3rd,
little bit of feedback.
2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands with my wife and 4 friends, I joined a paragliding tour hosted by Olympic Wings. For 10 glorious days, our group toured Greece from east to west, sampling many fabulous flying sites, enjoying great food and wonderful accommodations. Here are a few of the many magic moments experienced by this
you've got
international group
the video
comprised
on
of
right
18
now.
Swiss,
Playing.
4
There we go.
Is that better?
Okay.
You got it? Are we going to do this again?
El Presidente, take 3.
Okay. All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. I want to be conscious of Kevin's time because we've done this four times now. But I'm actually really excited for this one. When I asked Kevin to do this, it was after he put up his video, which was actually really epic, of his flying in Greece. And I thought it would be great to have him out here just to talk about it, and if anyone had any questions in regards to travel insurance and how everything works out when you're trying to get your wing over, especially to a destination that's not that close. Anyhow, I know. But that's great, and we will just move on, get this done. But
Thanks, Greg.
Kevin. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you
Pleasure.
coming out.
Cheers. Thank you. Wow, you guys can make it sound like a big crowd. That's pretty good. I just want to check, show of hands, has anybody ever gone paragliding in Greece? No. Okay, so maybe you might want to do this. So as a background, I was in Greece for 3 weeks on the Cyclades Islands with 2 other couples and Judy, and we did lots of hiking and stuff like that. The wing was packed away safely, ready to go, and at the end of those 3 weeks, Judy went to Spain, and I went to Thessalonica, which is a city in the north of Greece, to join up with this company called Olympic Wings, with whom I had signed up months in advance for what they call a 10-day east to west tour. So I'm just going to tell you what that included, and then I'm going to get you to try to put a number in your head, and we'll confirm that number later. So the tour offered 10 days of paragliding, 9 nights of accommodation, all transportation, of course guiding and briefings and all that kind of stuff, and breakfast. And if you did cross country, they would find you and pick you up and bring you back. So in your head right now, just put a number in your head as to what you think they were charging for that, and at the end of the video, I will see who gets the closest to it. Now, interestingly enough, my video is only 17 minutes long, but while I was on this tour, one of the couple, it's a couple that offer this tour, Stelios and Claudia, and Stelios is a Greek guy who's been flying, or actually they've been offering these tours for 30 years, so they have a long history. He's a very accomplished cross-country comp pilot. He knows lots of people. He actually has some big names come out for a couple of his tours, and they do cross-country. Like, I'm trying to think, maybe Paul Guscherbauer. Who's the guy who's doing the Owens Valley thing right now? He's flying north. And Antoine Girard has come out, and so they get some big names that come out and do cross-country clinics as well. Anyway, so the little thing that I'm going to show you right now is going to seem very irrelevant, but I'll make a connection afterwards. So can you cue up that YouTube video? About 7 years ago, Brad Henry and I were
On October
traveling for
3rd,
about a month in
2024,
France,
after spending
and doing
3
lots and lots
wonderful
of-
weeks on several Greek
You're
islands
still in
with
the-
my
you're
wife
still
and
in the
4
Greek video,
friends,
Tanya.
I joined a paragliding
So I
tour
want to just show
hosted
you
by
this
Olympic
because
Wings.
I'm going to do a
For
connection
10
with
glorious
this at
days,
the
our
end
group
of the
toured Greece
video.
from
So
east to west.
she's going to find that YouTube video and pull it up.
He's making his last few preparations, zipping up and clipping in and putting things away. And we are just going to let him concentrate on his preparations.
Singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Should film down because that's where I'm gonna go.
He's got you at the back.
A bit downwind. Yeah, no problem.
Wow.
Pretty low.
Wow.
That pretty low.
I don't think so. I think he's just so far away, and boy, did he get there fast. Good job, Christoph. Sorry about the shake, folks.
That's it.
Wow.
We got to know this guy, and we actually...
On October 3rd, 2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands with my wife and 4 friends, I joined a paragliding tour hosted by Olympic Wings. For 10 glorious days, our group toured Greece from east to west, sampling many
Cheers,
fabulous
everybody.
flying sights.
Happy
and
Friday
enjoying
night.
Great food
Let
and
our
wonderful
technician get
accommodations.
control of the computer again. I just had to take a swig and it all came together. Okay, so we got to know this guy a little bit, and one of the things that we learned about him was that for X number of years, he had been operating a tour business in Greece, taking people for the same kind of trip that I went on. And later, when I got back to Canada, I found out that one of the people that had been on his trip was Delvin and Pam Crabtree. And he said it was a great trip. It had lots of things for Pam, who wasn't really flying very much. It had lots of cool historical places to stop and look at. He said Christoph was a bit of a prick, a little bit arrogant, and he said, I don't think he liked me very much. But he said, he loved the food, he loved everything, and it was all good. But I asked Christoph, what are you doing back in France? He said, I am not doing that anymore. And I said, well, why not? He said, 45 trips to the emergency room with clients who would not listen. And so the thing about that is it reminds me that trees are our friends. So a country that only has rocks and barren plains, you know, if something goes wrong, it's not as happy an ending as it is in BC, and just ask Tom Gregg that. Or Nash, who landed in a river on a nice island the other day. But by the same token, what it suggests is that whoever's doing the guiding has to have a very good sense of safety, a very good sense of the launches, the landings, do a good briefing, and not take you somewhere that's not going to work or it's going to be dangerous. And so fast forward to last October, and I'll just tell you that one of the things that I was the most impressed with about Stelios and Claudia was the thought that went into where we went every day. And we drove some days, you know, 400, 500 kilometers to get to places, but we flew every day, even if it was late in the day. So it was all good. So now at this point, I'll show you the video, and then you can keep in mind that strange little cartoon, Christoph, because I'm going to draw the connection about that later, and then also what you think this tour might cost. Apart from that, this video was mainly made for the people who were on the trip. And on that trip, I was the only North American. There was, I think, 2 people from Germany, maybe 3 people, and the rest, the massive group, was from Switzerland. And they had come over with their school, and so they had all levels. They had XC pilots, and they had people who'd only been flying for a year or 2. And their leader was just absolutely amazing pilot, and also incredibly detailed with his briefings, almost to the point where it was kind of comical how much time he spent talking to them in Swiss German, which apparently even the Germans couldn't understand. So anyway, this is the story of my East-West tour.
October 3rd, 2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands with my wife and 4 friends, I joined a paragliding tour hosted by Olympic Wings. For 10 glorious days, our group toured Greece from east to west, sampling many fabulous flying sights, enjoying great food and wonderful accommodations. Here are a few of the many magic moments experienced by this international group comprised of 18 Swiss, 4 Germans, and a lone Canadian. Now, how sweet is this? We are staying in a hotel that is probably about a 6-minute drive from our takeoff site, and we can actually land here. Doesn't get much better than that. When you're on a tour, the good news is somebody's coming to get us, to take us back up to that sexy launch. Aaron, you have a smile that stretches all the way across Greece. Did you have another good one today?
A great flight. first
Yeah.
to the other side.
Okay.
And flown the entire range down there.
Yes.
The end of the valley, and then the entire thing back. And that was a great flight.
Oh, good for you. Wow, no wonder you're so happy. Congratulations.
Thanks.
These haven't been the kind of days where you can often just take the camera out and do a nice little monologue. So I'm going to do my monologue from the end of my flight. I think I flew for about 2.5 hours. So I don't even know exactly where I am, but I've sent my location to my trusty, faithful, loving guides. And I'm sure by the time I pack up, find a place to have an afternoon coffee, I should be within easy reach of them. But very, very satisfied feeling to make it this far. Happy, satisfied customer. Another day, another launch. Here we are in Lefkada. It rained an hour and a half ago. And suddenly it seems to be clearing up. I don't know how this guy does it. I think he has made a deal with the gods of the weather.
If you land somewhere else except here, you will send us. So, the sea is here, if by accident.
If you're going to Paraway, this is a pretty darn good place to do it. Get out on the Mediterranean, really nothing between here and Italy.
After the day of flying to eat in that incredible restaurant.
Schön, wunderbar. Schöner Flug. Kevin in the air.
Well, I can't believe it. We went up to a launch site today where the wind was blowing completely cross, gusty, scary wind. And we just sat around and waited, and true enough, true to Stelio's word, it turned around, and everybody got to fly, and everybody got to stay up. I had a 40-minute flight. We are flying every day. Olympic wings rocks. See, he doesn't want to get sand in his wing either.
Yeah, no, he's a frickin' twig. He's a test pilot.
Make it to the top, I wanna
film guy.
And with Addie's final spiral, our adventure was over. The group met that night for one last spectacular meal, and the next day we bid adieu to our wonderful hosts.
Fellow pilots, what do you think of the flying in Greece? Can we give Stelio and Claudia another round of applause?
The word for a really bad flight where you go down very, very fast. Sturzflug. And if you have a flight that's just a nice gentle glide down.
Yeah, it's an upglide.
Up glide. Okay. So I'm here with my new friend Giuseppe, and Giuseppe is from Switzerland. He's with a big group that I've been hanging out with and flying with for the last week, and we've had a great time. And I just wanted to ask Giuseppe a few questions about his life when he's not in Greece. So how long have you been flying?
Depuis 33 ans. Ja, vaak wel per se de genootschapij en de regulatuur.
Thanks for talking to me today. This will be on the YouTube video.
October 3rd to 12th, I believe it was, yeah. And that guy, he was the guy flying the Photon. Thank you. Little tiny farmer, like probably flying an extra small or whatever they make, but very good pilot. He's the guy that did the top landing. Giuseppe, and he doesn't even speak, what would be Romansk? Yeah, like he doesn't even, he speaks Swiss German, but he also spoke, I think it was Romansh, yeah. Yeah, and I did quite a long interview with him where he spoke like that. Anyway, so first of all, who wants to share their estimate of what this trip would cost? 4,000 Canadian, go ahead. 2,500 euros. Okay, anybody? Okay, okay. Okay. 1,800 euros. Okay, Tanya? How much? Okay. Okay, Chris? The whole thing. 10 days, food, driving, hotels, breakfast. Okay, 3,000 euros. Okay. You? Yeah, 900 euros. 900 euros.
That's insane.
I know. I don't even know how they make money. So you guys need to go. That's incredible. So the only extra costs would be after the whole drive is over, everybody shares the gas, which is fair enough because you don't know how far you're going to be driving. And I think the gas that I had to pay was 80 euros. So, like, we had just been traveling for 3 weeks. We never stayed in a hotel that was less than like 150 euros a night, you know? So it's unbelievable. Yeah. I think they probably have a very good relationship with all the hoteliers. But again, even keep in mind, you can't even commit to a date with a hotel because they're going to go where the weather is. And somehow, yeah, it's just amazing. 30 years. Yeah. So they got lots and lots of history. Yeah. It was kind of funny because on the first or second day he said, "You want to buy the company? I want to retire." You know, because like every other paragliding instructor, because he was a teacher as well, you get tired, you know. But there's people have so much joy on these trips that they just keep doing it. And I see, because I'm their friend on Facebook, they are doing tours as we speak. I see stuff every day of some of the sites I went to and then sites that I want to go to. If you go onto paragliding map and you look on Greece, it's unbelievable how many sites there are. So we only scratch the surface. Yeah.
The best time you went in October, but it's better early.
Probably spring is pretty damn good. I'm seeing lots of great pictures right now. I'm guessing, typically hot countries like that, July and August, not so good. I mean, if nothing else, you're uncomfortably hot when you're on the ground. But I think they were still starting another tour the day that I left, which had been October 13th. And I think they went right through to the end of November. And then that's when they take their holidays and they fly. And they've got all kinds of places that they go. They've got a van like yours, and they just travel around and fly and suss out new sites. And yeah. So before I take any other questions, I'll just draw the connection with the cartoon. So while we were driving we didn't have very many long days, but we had the third day was pretty long. It was like 400K. And I was in the shotgun seat with Claudia, who's driving. We had 3 vans because we had so many people. And I said, so Claudia, I met this guy in France about 6 years ago, and he said that he used to do guiding in Greece, and I just wonder if you'd ever heard of him. And I'll back up a bit, and I'll just say that the day that we were walking up to that launch for Christoph to jump off, not like we do, I said, so what do you say to the accusation that there's a 25% mortality rate among wingsuit jumpers? And he goes, bullshit. It's bullshit. You have to be very careful, and and he was breathing, and anyway. So he would say that he had 500 wingsuit jumps at that point. He was very hardcore, and tandem pilot, paraglider, everything, right? Anyway, so I'm driving along, got nothing to do, it's raining. Did you ever hear of a guy named Christophe Dubois? And her face turned white as a ghost. And she said, he just died 3 weeks ago. What was he doing, Claudia? Wingsuiting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the ending to that story, but it was amazing. And what was cool was that they were very close to his girlfriend, who was a Greek lady. And I don't think that she was still doing tours, or maybe she was, but I sent them the Birdman of St. Hilaire video, and she said that was very moving for her to see that, just a little glimpse of Christoph after all those years. Yeah. Anyway. So anything you want to ask? Anything that I haven't covered?
What was your favorite flight?
Oh, it would have been that Paramithia flight where I almost flew to the ocean, but being a little bit of a chicken shit, I didn't see really good landing fields closer to the beach. So I probably could have made it to the beach, but where I landed was nice and safe, and I could, a little bit of a walk.
Could you repeat the question, because they don't hear the question?
Oh, the question was, what was my favorite flight? And it was from that really rocky ridge called Paramithia, and that was mind-blowingly beautiful. It was great. Took quite a while to get above the ridge, but once we did, 3 of us went quite far, and I went the furthest.
How long was the flight?
2 hours, 30 minutes, something like that. Yeah, yeah. And just, but beautiful agricultural places to land down at the bottom, and just very, very nice. And then I would say that Ionina area where Addie and I were doing the Zeolite Brothers, that was also really beautiful. And there's a lake there. I don't know if it's Lake Ionina, but there's at least 2 or 3 launches along that ridge, so you can do a nice kind of 60K out and return easily, maybe more if you go west and north as well. So yeah, lots of good flying there. And yeah.
Did you like flying in Mexico?
Definitely, yeah. Particularly places like Tenancingo, which are at 2,000 meters. I don't mind those places, but I think they add a whole element of risk when you're in air that thin anyway. Because as you know, your speed is about 15% faster. If you do get dumped, you can come down pretty hard. And lots of people who've flown Mexico have had hard landings. This was never really very far from the ocean. So you had the moderating effect of the ocean, but still good lift. I mean, again, October, and we're still getting 3-4 meters per second thermal, so that was nice. Maybe more. Anybody else?
Just out of curiosity, it's kind of one of the things, kind of like, what is the best flying season? Like, I'm sure to fly when you're around.
For Greece?
Yes, right.
I think they told me it was spring. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think, again, in the summer you're going to have really, really baked out conditions and probably nuclear thermals. But I think probably April and May. And he said that in Greece there's places you can fly and soar and cross country 12 months of the year. In fact, he said that they go to the Peloponnesus, which is a great big giant peninsula, and they can hit 30 degrees in December. Yeah, so they can still have really, really warm weather. They can also have snow. But they fly 12 months of the year, so that's pretty spectacular. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to go back, and obviously I'd love to do a different tour. And probably I would like to go back in May, April and May, because you'd have the spring flowers and probably fantastic soaring conditions then as well.
You want to organize maybe a group from here, or kind of coordinate?
Sure. I know, you know that Norm Kirchmar is thinking of doing that from Paraglide Canada, but it would be for the same time as I went. It was like October, because he tends to do this Japan thing in the spring. But he was saying he's thinking of organizing a trip for the fall this year. Yeah. And of course, Addy brings over, 18 people at a time, and that's not his first rodeo. Like, he comes there pretty well every year because they have pretty consistent, great trips. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, at that lake, at Ionina. Yeah, they do SIV at that lake. Yeah, because you're already probably about 11 or 1,200 meters up, and it's not far to get over the water, and the water's quite warm. Yeah, so I know they do that there. Yeah. No, you can go with a roommate, and I think I paid 50 euros extra to go by myself. I was originally, Tom Gregg was going to come, and he was in Athens at the same time that we were in Athens, but he was there for one of his, I don't know if you know, he's a Greek dancer, and he and his wife were over there doing a Greek dancing thing, and because of work he wasn't able to add the extra. But it's kind of funny because he went to some of the places, and I think he had a couple of okay flights, but that's the difference between self-guiding and going with a group who know exactly the meteorology and know exactly where to take you to milk the best out of every day. And I don't think they had particularly good flying because he'd never been there. He didn't know, anything. He didn't have local people to talk to. So when you think about that price, you just go, it's a no-brainer. Like, then you got the safety, and Stelios was really big on safety. He would always tell us all the things to watch out for. And the only incident we had was on the second day, and a lady tried to clear a ridge that you needed to have a little bit of height on, and she just softly landed in some juniper bushes. And the funny thing was, the only thing that they had trouble with was she lost her phone. And her phone was lying somewhere in the dirt, somewhere beneath these juniper bushes, and they got her wing out in 5 minutes, but it took 2 hours to find her phone. Yeah, and that was it. You probably saw that despite their experience level, everybody there was pretty competent, and that would be because frickin' Addy Hunziger makes sure that his chimps are extremely well trained when he brings them over there. Yeah.
It didn't look like beer launches.
No, it sure didn't. No.
Anybody else got any questions? No? All right.
Okay. You're welcome. So if you want to look them up, you just Google Olympic Wings, and they have a website that has all their different tours and stuff like that, and you can just tell them I sent you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Again, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Just so everyone else here knows, There is a plan to take a machine up Rival, probably on the 6th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I tried to do it earlier, then they rented the machine out.
And you had rain.
Then
Take down the cross stitches a bit?
yeah, that's a plan, but it's really, the focus is more on our spur road because go back and fix it. Big long story. I just told
On October 3rd, 2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands with my wife and 4 friends, I joined a paragliding tour hosted by Olympic Wings.
looking at adding 2 more
Not cross stitches.
no,
We don't need more. We don't need more. More cross stitches.
no, more cross stitches. No, not cross stitches. We are going to put some more.
Like on launch.
No, what
Up on launch.
what I put on elk. This is something that we've been trying to get done for a couple years now.
On October 3rd, 2024, after spending 3 wonderful weeks on several Greek islands,
And now we're going to put one in Pemberton and one on Bridle.
Nice. Nice. That's good news.
Right?
Very good
And
news.
that's pretty much it for the news right now.
Okay. News you can use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
June
Thanks for coming
6th.
out. That came out. Thank you, Tanya, for stepping in for Jeremy and doing all this lovely
Yeah, Tanya.
Thank you. And-
Tanya Tech.
And Chris helped too. Think about. And we'll do this again in the fall.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. Okay.
It's raining. Yeah, raining tomorrow.